Well, this is certainly a big night for Joe Biden, certainly given where his campaign was 2 weeks ago, where it was essentially left for dead by the political class and by many of the Democratic electorate. Biden's ability to demonstrate widespread support among the Democratic electorate across the country was a huge boost for his campaign. It was also a significant night for Bernie Sanders as well, but it was expected to be a big night for Bernie Sanders. So in terms of expectations, certainly this seems to be this dominant storyline does seem to be Joe Biden. That's the real test for Joe Biden. He won tonight without any big investment on the ground, both in terms of staff, in terms of television ads. That is indicative of a bit of a consolidation within the Democratic field. Bernie Sanders, on the other hand, has a lot of grassroots support, a lot of money, and a lot of field staffers ready to deploy as this race continues. So this may end up being a battle between Bernie Sanders' small but well-organized and well-funded support and Joe Biden's increasingly consolidated backing among the Democratic sort of establishment vote. You can't understate the value of Amy Klobuchar dropping out in particular to Joe Biden's performance when you look at his win in Minnesota, a state that it was a caucus state 4 years ago, but that's a state that Bernie Sanders carried. Pete Buttigieg's endorsement of Biden as well is sort of signaling to voters who were on the fence on Election Day. And there's an indication from AP Votecast that there was a shift, even in just the hours leading into Election Day on Super Tuesday, of Democrats breaking for Joe Biden. And that is in part due to those former Democratic contenders dropping out and endorsing him. Elizabeth Warren's disappointing third-place finish in her home state really does potentially signal the end of her campaign coming very soon. It's very difficult to imagine how a candidate can come into third in the state where the voters know them best and continue to mount a national campaign. Well, Bernie Sanders is one of the most well-organized campaigns and has been all throughout. He benefited from having a lot of that in place since 2016, and he just reactivated it on a second run for the presidency. Joe Biden, by contrast, has been one of the least organized campaigns in the Democratic field. And it's surprising to see how Biden was able to perform so well tonight, given that he didn't have a whole lot of resources on the ground. He didn't visit a lot of these states, wasn't spending money on television. And that sort of gets at the changing nature of the race. This is going to be seems to be right now a battle between organization and right now a bit of momentum on the Joe Biden's account. So Sanders definitely has the advantage when it comes to organization and grassroots support. Biden has sort of the wind in his sails right now. Well, Mike Bloomberg's campaign, this is his first night on the ballot, and the same night that the most delegates were allocated. He got some delegates, but he also spent $500 million getting those delegates. He is not amassing any substantial delegate lead or winning any state this evening. So his rationale for remaining in this race is certainly a major question hovering over his campaign. He has said he may drop out, and AP is reporting that he's reassessing his campaign Wednesday. Well, if anything, it means that Donald Trump is potentially very likely going to be the youngest candidate on the ballot this fall, which he's younger than Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, the two likeliest Democrats. But also, this is the race that the Trump campaign has always been preparing to run, either for Bernie Sanders to emerge as the Democratic nominee or for Joe Biden, the two early favorites in this race. And the Trump campaign is signaling that they're enjoying this chaos, as this Democratic field does seem to be in this bit of a delegate shootout into the convention. So they're stoking the flames of that chaos. But right now, this is the Trump campaign feels very well positioned to run this into the stretch in November.